You know, some stories just don't make sense, and this one will sit with you long after you hear it. A 4-year-old boy, a quiet outback station in South Australia, and in less than 30 minutes he's just gone. No scream, no struggle, no footprints, nothing. Imagine that for a second. One moment a child is chasing his dog across the red dirt. The next, silence, only wind, dust, and panic. And here's the part that'll really get you. Even after hundreds of people searched nearly 470 square kilometers, not a single trace of that little boy was found. Not his clothes, not his toy, not even a footprint. It's like the outback swallowed him whole. So what happened to Gus Lamont? Did he wander off into the unforgiving wilderness? Was he taken? Or did something much darker happen right there on his family's property? Stick with me, because by the end of this story you'll realize every theory sounds possible, yet none of them truly fit. Introduction. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's story isn't just a mystery, it's a case that's shaken an entire country. This is the story of Gus Lamont, a 4-year-old boy who vanished without a trace from Oak Park Station, a remote sheep farm in South Australia. The date was September 27, 2025, an ordinary Saturday afternoon that turned into every parent's worst nightmare. Now, disappearances in the outback aren't unheard of. The land is vast, rugged, and brutally harsh, but what makes Gus's case so chilling is that nothing adds up. The timeline doesn't make sense. The search results don't make sense. Even the family's statements, well, let's just say they raise more questions than answers. Over the next few minutes, we're going to break down what really happened that day, the 4 leading theories that investigators and the public can't stop debating, and why this case might never truly be solved. But before we dive in, I want you to picture this. A sprawling, sunburnt property stretching miles in every direction. The air so dry you can feel it scrape your throat, and right in the middle of it, a family home surrounded by silence. That's where Gus was last seen, around 5:00 p.m. near the main house. His mom said he was playing outside. Within minutes, she couldn't find him. She called his name, checked the yard, the sheds, the paddocks, nothing. By sunset, panic set in. By nightfall, dozens of locals were out searching with flashlights. By morning, helicopters scanned the horizon, but 3 days later, still nothing. No evidence, no witnesses, no sign of struggle. And the strangest part, even police couldn't agree on what really happened out there. So what went wrong? How does a child disappear in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by family, and leave absolutely no trace behind? Let's start from the beginning. Alright, so let's rewind to that Saturday afternoon, September 27, 2025. It's around 4:45 p.m. at Oak Park Station, a huge stretch of dusty red land about halfway between Yunta and Peterborough, South Australia. The kind of place where the horizon feels endless, you know, just sky, sand, and silence. Gus Lamont, only 4 years old, was outside playing near the family's homestead. His mum was inside getting dinner ready, his dad working nearby with the livestock. It was quiet, almost too quiet, until she suddenly realized she couldn't hear him anymore. At first, it's that small moment of panic every parent knows. You call their name once, twice, expecting a giggle or a coming, but when there's nothing but wind, that's when the fear kicks in. She searches the yard, the sheds, the water tanks. Nothing. Within minutes she's yelling for her husband. He drops everything, runs toward the house, and that's when they both realize Gus is gone. By 5:30 p.m. they phone neighbors. By 6 p.m. a full search is on. Locals arrive with torches and bikes, shouting his name into the dry air. The sun drops fast out there, and once it's gone, that desert cold bites hard. Everyone knows a 4-year-old alone in the outback at night doesn't stand a chance. Now here, where it gets eerie. Over the next 3 days, more than 100 people joined the search. Police, helicopters, drones, even thermal cameras. They combed through nearly 470 square kilometers of land, not a footprint, not a scrap of clothing, not even a single clue pointing in any direction. It's like he vanished into thin air. And that's when the first whispers started. Some said he must have wandered off, kids do that. But locals quickly shot that theory down. That terrain is rough, thorny shrubs, hidden sinkholes, and temperatures that drop below freezing at night. If he had wandered off, searchers should have found something. A trail, a sock, anything. Then came another rumor about a man named Benjamin who had reportedly gone missing just a day earlier in a nearby area. People wondered, could this be connected? Did Benjamin take the boy, or did he see something? Police said no, insisting the two disappearances were unrelated. Still, the timing, way too close for comfort. Meanwhile, attention turned toward the Lamont family themselves. Some online sleuths claimed there were inconsistencies in their statements, little details that didn't quite match up. But again, no hard evidence, just speculation. And you know how it goes on the internet, speculation spreads faster than facts. By the end of that first week, hope was fading. Search teams started packing up and the official investigation shifted from rescue to recovery. But here's the thing that keeps everyone awake. How can a child disappear from a property surrounded by open land, no forest cover, no water holes nearby, and leave absolutely nothing behind? We're about to explore the 4 leading theories people believe could explain it. And trust me, each one sounds more unbelievable than the last. Alright, so here, where things get complicated and honestly a little haunting. Because after weeks of searching, theories started flooding in, some made sense, some were unsettling. Let's go through the 4 that still keep people arguing today. Theory 1: he wandered off. It's the simplest explanation, right? A curious kid chases his dog or a sound and just keeps walking. The outback is brutal, scorching during the day, freezing at night. People thought maybe Gus got lost, collapsed somewhere the search teams just couldn't reach. But here, the problem: no trace. No prints in the dust, no scent trail for the dogs. Searchers covered every inch within a 20-kilometer radius. Nothing. And if you've ever seen the outback, you know it's not like a forest where a body could hide under thick leaves. It's open land. If he was out there, they would have found something. So yeah, this theory sounds reasonable at first, but it just doesn't hold up. Theory 2: the stranger connection. Then comes the strange part. A man named Benjamin Cross, a 32-year-old drifter, was reported missing one day before Gus vanished. His car was found abandoned about an hour away from Oak Park Station. People online immediately connected the dots. Could Benjamin have stumbled onto the property? Did he take the boy, or worse? But police shut that theory down fast, saying there was no evidence linking Benjamin to the Lamonts. Still, it's hard to ignore the timing. 2 disappearances, 1 region, 1 weekend. Coincidence? Maybe, but it's one of those details that sticks in your mind, you know. Theory 3: family involvement. Now this is where things start feeling heavy. Because when there's no sign of forced entry, no tire marks, no strangers, people start looking inward. Some online sleuths claim there were inconsistencies in the parents' statements, like time gaps that didn't match or vague details about where everyone was at 5 p.m. And sadly, in cases like John Benet Ramsey or William Tyrrell, suspicion often falls on those closest to the victim. But here's the truth: there's no evidence proving the family had anything to do with it. Just rumors, theories, and the internet's tendency to fill in blanks when the facts don't make sense. Still, the silence from the family after that first week didn't help. No interviews, no public pleas, nothing. People read that as guilt. Maybe it was grief, maybe fear, we'll never know. Theory 4: accident and cover-up. And then there's the theory that's quietly whispered, the one that sounds believable and terrifying. What if something tragic happened, an accident? Maybe a vehicle, maybe a fall. And instead of calling for help, someone panicked. In rural places like that, reputation runs deep. Families handle things their own way. It's not impossible that an accident turned into a cover-up out of fear, shame, or confusion. But again, no proof, no evidence, just a theory that refuses to die. By now, it's been weeks since Gus vanished. The official search has ended. Reporters have moved on. But locals say, even today, you can stand out there where that little boy was last seen and still feel it. That eerie stillness, like the land remembers something no one else can explain. And just when you think you've heard it all, there's one more twist that changes how you see this entire story. You know how sometimes a story reaches a point where it's not even about the facts anymore. It's about the feeling, that gut-deep chill when you realize something's just not right. That's where this case hits hardest. Because a few weeks after the official search ended, something strange happened. Locals say the Lamonts quietly moved away from the property. No public statement, no farewell to the volunteers who searched day and night, just gone. The house at Oak Park Station sat empty for months, the wind blowing through broken fences, toys still scattered near the porch, and right there a faded tricycle rusting in the dust. People who drove by said it felt like the whole place was frozen in time, waiting for Gus to come home. Now here, where it gets even more unsettling. A volunteer who'd been part of the original search claimed that a few days after operations were called off, police quietly returned to the property. No big media attention this time, just a small team late in the afternoon combing through a dry creek bed not far from the main house. Did they find something? No one knows. Nothing was ever reported publicly, but locals swear they saw investigators digging and then covering the area again before leaving. Maybe it was nothing, maybe they were just double-checking, but the secrecy, yeah, it raised eyebrows. Then there's this. Months later, a wildlife camera from a nearby cattle station supposedly captured a small figure walking along a dirt track at dusk. The footage was blurry, grainy, and taken miles away from Oak Park. The shape could have been a person, or it could have been a trick of the light. The image spread online and people started saying, "That's Gus, he's alive." But police reviewed it and said no, it wasn't him. Still, the hope wouldn't die. You can't kill hope that easily, right? Especially when it's a child. And maybe that's the hardest part of all this, the not knowing, the silence that lingers long after the cameras leave. Because when someone disappears, it's not just their body that's missing, it's the truth. Every year since then, on September 27th, locals light candles by the old property gate. No official memorial, just quiet faces standing under that wide, empty sky, waiting. Waiting for someone to speak up. Waiting for something to be found. Waiting for an ending that might never come. And you know what? Maybe that's what makes this story so haunting. Because deep down, it feels like someone out there still knows exactly what happened to Gus Lamont. They just haven't said it yet. You know, sometimes the scariest thing isn't what we see. It's what we never find. And with Gus Lamont, that's exactly what makes this case so haunting. No closure, no answers, just an empty space where a little boy should be. When you think about it, 4 years old is such a tiny age. He was just beginning to discover the world, chasing the dog, drawing in the dirt, asking those endless why questions kids always ask. And then, one afternoon, all of that was gone. The hardest part. Everyone who loved him is still stuck in that same afternoon, still replaying it, still wondering what they missed, still asking how. You know, I keep coming back to one image, that vast stretch of red land, flat, endless, and silent. For miles, nothing but dust and sky. It's beautiful, but it's also brutal. And out there, somewhere in that silence, lies the answer. Whether it's buried deep in the ground or hidden in someone's memory, it's there. Maybe one day someone will talk, maybe a new clue will surface, maybe technology will find what human eyes couldn't. But until then, Gus's story stays open, frozen in time, just like that little tricycle rusting by the porch. And that's what makes stories like this hit so hard, because they're not just about mystery, they're about loss, about how quickly life can change in a single minute. Think about it. 1 second, a family is laughing, eating dinner, living their normal routine. The next, their entire world falls apart. And the truth? It could happen to anyone. But here's what I believe. The truth never stays buried forever. Not in a place that wide, not with a story that powerful. Someone knows something, and one day it'll come out. Until then, all we can do is remember. Remember the name Gus Lamont. Remember that little boy who vanished under a sky too big for words. And keep asking the question no one been able to answer: what really happened out there. If you found this story interesting, or if it left you with that same uneasy feeling I can't shake, don't forget to subscribe. Because trust me, there are more stories like this one. Stories that'll keep you up at night, wondering what's real, what's hidden, and who might be keeping the truth buried just beneath the surface. More shocking stories are coming your way.